the Constellation-class was sold as an 85% copy of the Italian FREMM. By the time Navy survivability standards, shock requirements, and combat system mandates were applied, commonality collapsed to under 15%. That number is a confession, not a footnote. Americanization is not a tweak, it is a near-total redesign. FX was conceived in the shadow of that trauma. Flight 1 is the Navy's answer to that failure. It is a Legend-class national security cutter hull kept at its original 421-foot geometry, displacing 750 tons with a crew of 148. The design deliberately omits a fixed Mk71 VLS and instead carries a flexible weapon station for 16 naval strike missiles or 48 Hellfires. ASW sensors and weapons are deferred entirely to later flights. The lead ship costs $1.671 billion, and the buy profile is painfully slow. 1 ship in FY27, 1 in FY29, 2 in FY31, toward a budget objective of just 22 hulls, even while Navy briefings still advertise a vision of 50 to 65 ships. Three internal pressures are already working from within the Navy itself, each one threatening to break the frozen design before the first steel is cut. These are not hypothetical risks. They are documented in budgets, requirements, documents, and the service's own planning. The first pressure comes from inside the Navy itself. Flight 1 uses a lightweight combat system with SPS-77 and SLQ-32V6 to protect cost and schedule. That choice will not survive the first major fleet exercise where AEGIS interoperability is graded. The Navy has already written the escape clause, planning a transition to an AEGIS-based integrated combat system in later flights. Once that begins, power, cooling, and topside weight will explode. Second internal pressure is NAVSEA survivability. Navy leaders promise single-digit changes from the NSC baseline. The NSC has a steel hull and superstructure, but it was built to about 90% military standards and designed for Level 1 survivability. Coast Guard documents admit it is configured for low to medium threats and is not expected to survive high-threat environments. Applying Navy Grade A shock, redundant power zones, and blast hardening will add hundreds of tons and force cascading redesigns. The third pressure is already installed, disguised as modularity. Flight 1 avoids a fixed VLS but relies on containerized payload modules capable of delivering VLS-equivalent functionality. That description matches the Mk70 payload delivery system, a 40-foot container with 4 strike-length Mk41 cells for SM-6 and Tomahawk. The Navy can truthfully say no fixed VLS while quietly fielding VLS capability. Requirement creep is not waiting for Flight 2, it is already on board. Outside the technical demands, logistics and politics are waiting. The stern ramp has been replaced by a container station assuming rapid mission swaps. The program's own risk assessment warns that containerized payloads create heavy handling, storage, and integration burdens. This is the same modular trap that plagued the littoral combat ship for a decade. History strongly suggests FX will inherit the same delays. Industrial politics tighten the vice further. The $282.9 million lead yard contract went sole source to Ingalls under unusual and compelling urgency. Without competition, there is little pressure on cost or schedule. The cost estimate remains Class C, meaning moderate uncertainty, because aviation facilities and unmanned integration are still undefined. Congress will push for workshare across districts, and each addition will be sold as a minor change. FX survives Americanization only if 3 red lines are held. First, permanently accept SPS-77 and reject any AEGIS migration. Second, keep the ship without a fixed VLS through at least Flight 2. Third, enforce a truly frozen design with contractual penalties for changes. History indicates none of those lines will hold. If they break, Flight 1 will follow Constellation. cost drifting past $2 billion, displacement climbing towards 6,000 tons, and a fleet plan collapsing from a bold vision to a token buy.